on our drive down here. We had some blue skies, and it looked like it was going to be a fairly clear day. Get down here and it's haze, and it almost looks like rain up ahead.
It is very, very not summer.
Very not summer. All right, Dan. You've been around a little bit.
Been around a bit.
What's it like living in northern Idaho?
Ooh, it's hard to say, really, in what regards.
It's difficult to quantify what it's like. So we've got bald eagles up ahead currently. Along the shoreline, they're picking up little fish out of the water every so often. It's cold. We are entering 2024, so it's very end of December. Strangely, we have no snow. The nights are more night than day. So we've got about 8 hours of daylight, roughly. That's from sunrise to sunset.
Yeah, it starts to get dark around 3-ish.
Really early.
Makes for a very short day. That trail has eroded significantly over the past couple of years. There's not a lot of trail there.
Yes.
Well, you know, I grew up in southeast Idaho, down at the bottom of the state, almost as far down as you can go from here. And I couldn't run fast enough to get out of there. You know, it's cold. It's actually colder down there than it is up here.
Yes.
We have wind currents that come from the west coast that bring warm air, relatively warm air. So the weather up here is actually fairer than it is down in southeast Idaho. But it was not weather alone that made me loathe that part of the state. It's drier, the mountains are fewer and not as picturesque in my opinion. I grew up in a small town. I couldn't run fast enough to get out of there. I roamed the world, as you know, lived all over the place, still roam the world somewhat. And about 13 years ago, I believe it was, yeah, 13
yes.
years, I was based out of Los Angeles, which I hated. Yes, Los Angeles. I was based out of LA because I was an international sales guy. I had an office in Shanghai, China, and it was easier for me to fly out of LA to China back and forth than any other West Coast city. So that was home for a while. I hated it, and one day I came back from a really miserable trip from Singapore. It took me 37 hours to get back. We had mechanical trouble with our airplane and hopped all over the place. By the time I got back, I had had my fill. I called my boss in New York, said, I can't do this anymore. He said, oh, no, don't leave me. No, well, no, you can't leave. You can't quit, please. What are you talking about? I said, I hate LA. I can't stand this anymore. And he said, well, I thought you loved LA. I can't stand LA. And then he's really quiet. He said, what are you doing there? You could live anywhere you want. I thought, oh, duh. I guess I could. So within 2 weeks, I had moved up here and bought my house in Hayden. The reason I came to North Idaho is about 30 years back, I lived in Korea, and I wanted a place in the United States where I could escape from the world. And so I had 80 acres up by Priest Lake in North Idaho, and had a little creek on it, a couple of ponds, and I built a little cabin. That was my getaway from the world. So in my mind, North Idaho was my escape in the world. You know, if things got really bad, that's where I would run to. That was the idea. So that's what made me come here. You go with what you know, I suppose. As far as living here, the outdoor appeal is what really seals it for me. I love the mountains here. I love the lakes. As you know, I go nuts from now until it starts to melt out in spring.
I wish we could longer days.
I wish we could get up into the real mountains, not just putter around Farragut State Park. But it's a beautiful place. It's green. The air is fresh. People take for granted the quality of the water. One of the things that I will never quite get used to is just how delicious the water is right out of your tap in Hayden, Idaho. And a few times when Chinese friends come to visit, it takes me a while to convince them that they can that they can get a cup, you know, turn water on in the kitchen sink and drink it right out of the kitchen sink. And I have to show them, demonstrate a few times, and they trust me. So, you know, after a little bit of insistence, they try it and realize, wow.
After you show them,
wow,
see me.
That is amazing. So, you know, it still has the small town appeal, though that's changing quickly, isn't it? A lot of people moving in. That it's sad to see that. It's sad to see the development taking place. When I used to come here from Korea back in the 90s and early 90s, you go up to Priest Lake, go up through Priest River and up to Priest Lake. There's nobody. That was the wilderness. Yeah. And you drive from Coeur d'Alene to Priest Lake, and in the night you might pass 2 or 3 cars tops. You know, the roads were quiet. There were quieter times. There was no such thing as traffic. And times have changed, haven't they?
Overwhelmingly changed.
Now, something that's been on my mind a lot lately is, you know, as you know, I have my house built over in Thailand, and I won't deny I really like being over there, but it's gonna hurt when the time comes that I have to leave North Idaho for good.
It's a love-hate relationship for sure.
I don't know how I'm gonna make the call. It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be a tough one.
And I fully understand it now too, after being there. Of course, Isan's further north from where we were, but the temperatures are amazing. You do have, it's almost on the edge of too hot where we were.
The demographics have changed quite a bit here. The population has had a huge influx of people just piling in. It became quickly known as a hidden gem that's no longer hidden.
No longer hidden.
We have celebrities that have moved in now. Once people see the celebrities, they think that's the paradise that they're looking for. if it's good enough for celebrities, it's good enough for us, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know, when I would come over from Korea back in the 90s, for example, Mineral Ridge, you know, hike near Coeur d'Alene Lake. If you went to Mineral Ridge and hiked, you would be hard pressed to find another person anywhere near. Almost always the trail was yours, and I don't know that you could go there on any day of the week, anytime during the year, without finding somebody else on that trail now. The trails are overrun. Even the what used to be remote trails, they're no longer remote, are they? They're overrun by way too many people. I get it. People want to come and share in the natural beauty, but there's just too many people
to
now.
the people that have grown up their whole lives in the city, that's somewhat of a something that they can fall back on. No matter what happens, there's always somebody
So
around that can help.
you've got that safety factor in the back of your mind, knowing that there's hundreds of people, usually within shouting distance. But for somebody like me, I'm taking trails to get away from people. So it's a little bit of a, it's a hard hurdle to get over, knowing that your favorite trails are now overrun.
Yeah. Places you used to go and camp. You go up to an alpine lake, hike up there, camp, and the world was yours. The world was yours, and now you go up there and you might as well go and camp in a park in the middle of Seattle or something.
Maybe.
It's a bit despairing, which is why more and more, as we roam to deeper and deeper spots in the forests of Montana and Idaho, we shall not be naming our locations, because we don't want them to be spoiled like so many others have.
We've got quite a few spots where we have determined to keep them secret, even if it's not much of a secret.
Yeah.
We've decided early on, okay, this one is not going to be named. And so we come up with some unique titles on a few of these hikes. But people that have been there, they know. And usually if somebody comments, oh, is this such and such place? My lips are getting numb. I quickly remove that comment. Just because if people start putting that together, it does get overrun really quickly. My once upon a time favorite go-to hike was rare that you would see people up there, and now there's been so many people through there that some of the natural features that once were there have been destroyed intentionally by people coming through.
Yeah.
One of which was that twisted little cedar tree.
Yeah.
And it's completely destroyed. People were jumping on it, destroying it. Thought it would be fun to destroy this, oh, it had to have been 100 years old or more, tree that's been struggling for forever. And in the last 10 years, it's been completely killed by people. One of the old mine cars that used to be up there, the mine car was actually dismantled and brought down by somebody took it. So, you know, of course, that in itself is illegal. You're not supposed to remove mine materials like that. But somebody did it and got away with it.
Yeah, some scumbag.
Yeah. I would say living in northern Idaho, it's mostly conservative. There's lots of options for outdoor activities, not a lot of options for nightlife. So if you're into the whole nightlife aspect of things, you're gonna find that it's not really here. It's much more than some spots of Montana where everything shuts down at 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
But you still don't have the options. The gun laws are more relaxed here. You can both open carry and conceal carry. We have constitutional conceal carry. People tend to get freaked out when they see somebody carrying a gun out in the open, and usually you can tell right away those are not people that have lived here their whole life.
Exactly.
There's often times where I'm carrying a firearm and I get the second or third take by people walking by. And it's like, yeah, get used to it. You live in Idaho now, and
You're in North Idaho.
North Idaho. Yes.
What a safe place. What a absolutely wonderful place as far as crime goes. We have very little crime. What crime we do have typically comes across the border from Spokane, from Washington State, but it doesn't last very long because we have very low tolerance for it.
Yes.
We want a safe society, and we have it up here. One of my neighbors, he's from Poland. When he first came up, he's a very kind and sweet guy, an elderly fellow, and he's concerned about crime, and he mentioned that to me in front of a couple of neighbors, and we all just burst into laughter. Said it'd be a really bad idea. He's concerned about home invasion, and we laughed. We said that'd be a very bad idea in our neighborhood. Yeah. You know, most people have not one but multiple defense tools laying at hand at any given time.
Yes.
And know how to use them. And you know, that's the way it was when I grew up. You know, when I grew up, I used to run around the woods with a 22 when I was 12.
Yeah.
Go run around with your buddies and your 22s and plink at cans, and we never crossed our mind to do anything illegal or
Nefarious?
cruel.
No.
Never crossed your mind. When I was in high school, you go out in the parking lot and there'd be all the high school trucks with gun racks and a deer rifle in the back or a shotgun, and that's just the way we grew up. When I was in high school, I was on the rifle team, and there's a picture of me standing out on the school lawn with an M16. That's correct, an M16. My buddy with an M14, and standing there posing for the rifle team in front of the high school, and you never thought anything of it. You know, you go walk down the hall of the high school with an M16 or M14, and it was presumed that
You're on the shooting team.
You're on the rifle team. You have the utmost safety protocols, which we did. We learned gun safety early on and learned to respect firearms. You never heard, I don't think it even crossed anybody's mind to do anything evil with the firearm. Oh, I could destroy people's lives. Yeah, but why would you even consider it?
Yeah.
Why? Yeah, we don't have in my opinion, the United States doesn't have a gun problem. The United States has a morality problem and a mental illness problem. And I don't know how it's going to be reconciled. I don't know.
Yes.
I have no idea, but for the time being, it does me well to know that I'm in North Idaho, and that if anything truly bad goes down, if society falls apart, well, let's just say you shouldn't come to North Idaho looking for trouble, because you'll find it.
Yes, as population increases, of course, crime increases. So we have had a increase in crime. The crime rate per capita is still fairly low, but it has increased overall. This is a location where if you love the outdoors, you'll fit right in. If you're okay with somebody open carrying a firearm, you'll fit right in.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different from other spots around the country. This guy, he's been around quite a bit around the country as far as what the variable differences are. I've lived in Utah for a little bit, in Phoenix, Arizona for about a year. And so I've seen that side of things, but I ended up coming back here for probably the same reason. You come back to what you know. Had I grown up in Georgia, I probably would have wanted to go there to, you know, just be back at home. So this has always been home for me. Growing up as a kid, I lived near the national forest. We moved in probably about when I was 5, and so that was my playground to some degree, was the little national forest there. And of course, being away from a lot of the city stuff.
Yeah, you grew up running around the woods. And
yes.
Feel at home there.
So instead of growing up running around the streets, I grew up running around the trees. But so it's a great place to raise kids, to teach them proper values.
Yeah, it's all the twisted societal cancer that you find in other places throughout the United States right now. You haven't seen it yet in North Idaho, and
not yet.
People are determined to keep the sickness out. Yeah. Well, I know that wasn't the short, concise answer to the question, but that pretty much sums it up. In closing, I have to say, Steve, one of the biggest things on my mind when I consider moving to Thailand is, when the time comes, what's it going to take for me to just pull the trigger and wrap things up?
It's a big leap.
Sell my house in Hayden and distance myself, perhaps forever, from all of the beautiful, beautiful places that I've come to love up here.
Yeah.
Don't know.
Yeah.
But for now, I'll have to make that decision. Why decide now?
Why dwell on it?
What you can put off for another year or two.
Yeah, why put off now what you can put off later?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Procrastinate your procrastination.
Yes. I can put that procrastination off until much later.
I don't know if you've noticed it, but it feels significantly warmer now that we're out of the
Arctic wind tunnel.
Winds.
That was insane.
Holy crap, that was biting all the way to the flesh.
Yes.
Scars